Welcome on in. It is the Sports Wrap right here on 95.3 WCHE. Francisco Rojas, I have got you for the next hour. Talking Philadelphia sports, talking national sports, and sometimes Westchester University sports as well. And, man, look, again, like I said, there's been a lot going on, and there's a lot going on right now. The Phils right now, man, not a great time. I mean, never a great time to be playing bad baseball, but coming out of the All-Star break, not playing well right now. They lose again last night to the Baltimore Orioles, a game which they had the lead. Had the lead 4-2 at one point, and Andrew Painter, who came back for because the Phils have had fifth starter issues, to say the least, and they sent Painter down, and then they brought him back up last night. It actually looked pretty good outside of the Pete Alonso home run early in the game. Actually looked pretty good, and he pitched pretty solid. 6 innings, only 2 runs allowed on the Alonso home run, and only allowed 3 hits on the night. So that was good for him. I don't know what that means. If they brought Painter back up to showcase him or anything like that. I don't think teams really necessarily do that anymore. I don't, maybe like back in the day, but I don't think they necessarily do that anymore. So I don't really know what the whole Painter situation was, bringing him back up. But look, I mean, Painter pitched well last night, but it didn't really do much because got right into the bullpen, and Orion Kerkering, who, I mean, really, man, I was hoping that I would be able to trust Kerkering up until this point a little more. I knew that after last year, and even last year and the way it ended last year, I thought that maybe the way Kerkering handled it throughout the offseason, the whole overthrowing JT and how the way season ended, I thought that maybe Kerkering was going to be a lot. Look, his ERA went from under 3 last night to over 3. It's like 3.43 now after giving up those runs last night to the Orioles, and the Phils ended up losing 6-4. And you look up, and it felt like a couple weeks ago in the All-Star break, it's like, oh, maybe they have a shot at the division. They're only a couple of games back of the Braves, and now the Phils go through this stretch, once again. I mean, it feels like we're almost like a bit, I'm not saying exactly where they were when they were 9-19, but, they're playing bad baseball right now. They're playing bad baseball. 57-53, heading into the trade deadline. If you missed it, Bryce Harper, a couple of days ago, said that, yeah, we need some help. When being asked about the deadline, said, yeah, we need some help. And look, when it comes to that, I do want to address that. We're going to get on the deadline here because obviously the deadline is a couple of days, and it's probably the Phils' biggest deadline when we're talking about this core of players, because this team is the core of this team is only getting older. They're not getting any younger. Between Harper, Schwarber, Wheeler, Nola, JT, these guys are not getting any younger. So obviously this trade deadline, the biggest one after the last 4 or 5 years of being able to make the postseason, but haven't been able to win the championship, hopefully, just yet. Hopefully, maybe they'll be able to win one with this core. But this is a big one, man. This is a big one. This is a huge trade deadline for this team, and for Dave Dombrowski, this is going to be his biggest challenge. And I mean, it's his biggest challenge because they're only getting older, and also because of a potential looming lockout in 2027. Will we even have baseball? Probably, but maybe a shorter season. And, what are other teams going to do? Well, I mean, teams like the Padres, are they going to sell off guys like Mason Miller, the Adrian Martejon? Are teams that are still in it, like in both the American League and National League? I mean, I'm looking at it, and the Phils right now, 3rd wild card spot. But you have how many teams? At 6 teams within 5 games back of the Phillies, and it's baseball. Anything can happen, in the span of a couple of weeks. You can go from, I know it's a bit of an extreme, but where the Phillies were in April, 9-19, to a month later playing much better baseball, and they're right back in the wild card race. So anything can happen. I mean, anything can happen. We know, best here in this city. Remember in 2007, again, a bit of an extreme, but just putting it out there, back in 2007, when the Phils were all those games back of the New York Mets and ended up winning the division. Like, anything can happen. It just can. So, that being said, there's a lot of teams out there. Again, 6 teams within 5 games back of the Phillies. For that, they're a wild card spot. You're looking at the American League, 5 teams that are within 5 games back of that last wild card spot. Well, I guess 6 because, the Twins are on the outside looking in, but they have the same record as the Guardians, but I don't know how it works. Well, I guess the run differential. The Guardians are 10 runs better in the run differential column than the Twins. So there's the tie break there. But there are so many teams. Again, this trade deadline is going to be wild, man. And I'm really looking forward to it. Just as a baseball fan, as a Phillies fan, I'm going to be honest, man. As a Phillies fan, I don't know how much I'm looking forward to it because it's not like there is a name out there that really, really, really intrigues you. It's like, oh, that's the guy. We got to go get him. He's going to help us. He's going to help fill a hole. There's not really a guy out there like that, man. And the guys that would intrigue me, like a Mason Miller, I don't even know if he's getting traded. So, like, Mason Miller, I would love Mason Miller, and I don't even know if you would have to give up a pretty good haul to get Mason Miller, especially after the Padres just acquired him last year, and they're still in the race. Like, the Padres are right now, they're a game outside of the Phillies in the wild card. They're the team right behind the Phils. So, I mean, do the Padres still believe in themselves? I don't know. So, obviously, they're not going to be going for that division. It's going to be the Dodgers' division to win. But when we're talking about the playoffs, like, the Padres are right freaking there. So, it's going to be a really intriguing deadline, man. I think overall for baseball. And we'll get into the deadline overall next segment, regarding Tarik Skubal and guys like that. But there's nobody, man. I've been sitting here and I'm just looking at names, and man, I mean the big ones recently have been guys like Jo Adell, Dalton Varsho, Kevin Gausman. Who else am I missing? George Springer, from Toronto. Zach Neto from the Angels. I think I'm in the camp at this point. And you look at it, and I think I talked about this on the show last week, about, man, you can have, again, I go back to the 2024 deadline for the Phillies. Austin Hayes, I thought that deal made more sense than the Phillies did last year with Harrison Bader. Which one worked out more? Harrison Bader, randomly for 2 months, had some of the best 2 months of his career hitting, and it was like, oh, well, the Bader deal actually worked out. It looked better, but honest to God, man, I thought the deal that made more sense the year before was Austin Hayes. I thought Austin Hayes could hit left-handed pitching. He'd been, I think, a better hitter in his career than Harrison Bader. The Phillies needed some pop. Austin Hayes made sense for that, but Austin Hayes ended up dealing with some sort of like illness. I think he was like sick, and then something about his kidney. I forget. I don't know if that was true or not, but he had some illness, and then he got hurt. I think he had another injury, and only ended up playing 20 to 30 games for the Phillies. Austin Hayes, and people hate Austin Hayes for some reason. I mean, he couldn't stay healthy. He only played, again, 20 to 30 games here. That didn't work out. I thought it made sense at the time to make the deal for Austin Hayes. Didn't work out. Again, last year with Harrison Bader, you make the deal for him and Duran, and Bader works out. I mean, thankfully it worked out for the Phillies with Bader. I mean, he put up some pretty good offensive numbers in 2 months here. But the point being is is that sometimes at the trade deadline, it's a bit, and I know people don't want to hear this, it's a bit of a crapshoot, man. A little bit. I'm not saying you don't go for the names that don't make the most sense, like you do, but you look at the 2021 Braves, man. You get Jock Peterson. You get Jorge Soler. You got what Rosario that year, too. And they all ended up having, Jorge Soler, I'm pretty sure that year won World Series MVP. Like, out of nowhere, wins World Series MVP. And for Kansas City, the right before that deadline, it had a 78 OPS plus and was hitting 192. And all of a sudden he goes to the Braves and has a 131 OPS plus and is hitting 269, hits 14 home runs for them in 55 games, and ends up winning World Series MVP for them. And so the Braves made a deal for Rosario. They made a deal for Jorge Soler. I'm trying to think of what's the name I just forgot to. Jock Peterson. Like, they make the deals for names like that and ultimately end up winning the World Series. And those weren't guys that were, like, just concrete names that were, they could be the biggest names dealt at the deadline. Like, they weren't. And then, like, think about it. Go back to a couple of years ago. Tommy Edman wins NLCS MVP for the Dodgers. He wins NLCS MVP. And then, again, the Bader deal. Like, Bader last year, Bader didn't, it wasn't expected. I didn't think I didn't like the Bader trade last year, but it ended up working out. So, my point being, coming back all the way around to this, is that, especially because, and honestly, God, man, I felt like, as we were getting closer to Monday here, that I was somewhat almost coming around on Byron Buxton. I'm like, you know what, man? He was kind of healthy last year. He's kind of been healthier this year. So I'm like, you know what? Take a chance on Buxton. The type of player he is. He's so good. I mean, what he can do in the outfield, what he can do at the plate, it's unbelievable. But Buxton goes on the IL now. And I'm like, well, Buxton can't stay healthy. Just like Trout hasn't been able to stay healthy, and I was all out on Trout, like all out as in like not in on Trout. And the Trout deal didn't make sense anyway because just the injuries. So I'm at the point, man, where I want, really, again, depth starting pitcher. Maybe I'm in on somebody like Dalton Varsho that has his ceiling with the bat, can hit 27 home runs, 3-4 years ago, something like that now, and has a Gold Glove to his name. Great outfielder. I know he's a left-handed bat. I know he won a right-handed bat, but I think I'd be in on somebody like that. And I don't love the idea of Jeff Hoffman, man, but maybe Jeff Hoffman, maybe Luke Weaver from the Mets. Now A.J. Minter went to the Twins. Luke Weaver could potentially be somebody that I'd be interested in to put into the back end of your bullpen. Again, no Chapman, no Mason Miller is probably happening, so I'm not. And again, it would take hauls for those guys, I would think. At least definitely for Mason Miller, especially the type of career he's had so far, and he's younger. So, man, it's not going to be, I think, a deadline that a lot of Phillies fans are going to love, because I don't think it's going to be, again, especially this trade deadline, outside of Tarek Skubal, maybe Abrams, maybe Mason Miller. Like, outside of those guys, there just aren't the huge, ginormous names. There just aren't. Maybe Clay Holmes from the Mets, too, would kind of intrigue me, by the way. Maybe Clay Holmes, just because he's had the experience as a reliever, and I know he's technically been hurt, though. So, I don't know. Clay Holmes could be interesting just because he has experience as a reliever, has had success, and he's had the success last year for the Mets as a full-time starter. But I don't know. Maybe he would really want to just prefer to start, but maybe he could be your fourth or fifth starter and then go to the bullpen come postseason time. Maybe that's also really intriguing. So, it's been... It's going to be a really, really I don't envy Dave Dombrowski's position. This team hasn't won yet. And again, like I said, with the potential of the CBA, with potential of a lockout next year, man, are you going all in? Or are you not? I don't think the Phillies are going to get somebody like Tarik Skubal. I also don't think they would be smart to unload on Skubal, especially when you already got guys locked up on contracts, pitching-wise. You're probably, if Zach Wheeler wants to come back, if he wants to pitch beyond 2027, I'm assuming you would want to re-sign Zach Wheeler. So you already got Sanchez locked up on an extension, Luzardo, and you got the Nola one too, which is not looking great right now, but Nola is extended. So, I don't see why, at this point, Skubal really makes no sense. I never thought it made any sense. I know people just like the big, sexy names. I know, I get it. If they got Skubal, just look, man, I'm not going to lie to you. There was part of me that didn't want LeBron, and now LeBron's here, and it's like, screw everything. We got LeBron James. But also, you didn't have to, LeBron came here on a 2-year, $8 million deal, which is still insane. And 2-year, $8 million deal, and you didn't have to give up anything to get him. You got off the Paul George deal to get Jaylen Brown. Still insane. I'll get to the Sixers in a minute. But I just really wanted to, real quick, so I would love to know, you can tweet me at Rojas_media_. Where do you fall on the Phillies trade deadline for Monday? Are you excited, or are you just like, man, this is just going to be a really underwhelming deadline? Maybe kind of in years past. But we'll see, man. This is going to be a big deadline for the Phils, and I do not envy Dave Dombrowski. Jalen Carter got a new contract, 4 years, $152 million. Now, I hadn't been all in on it 100% on a Jalen Carter extension just because of maybe what it would mean for other guys, future deals like Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, what it means for guys like that. But I think now that we see the extension, I say to myself, he is the highest paid D tackle in NFL history now. And I say to myself, Jalen Carter, I think, look, I know we talk about the spitting incident and whatnot, even going back to his Georgia days with the off-the-field stuff. And I know he hasn't been a super-duper mature player. But I think it's the right move for what he has brought to you. And I know he didn't have an amazing year last year, but had a great year the year before. And the potential, you're giving a guy all this money to potentially be, one of the best D tackles in football, maybe one of the best in the history of football. We'll see how his career pans out. I think the Jalen Carter deal is worth taking the risk. Again, you don't win that Super Bowl without him. The Stafford play against the Rams and his play in 2024 and the talent he has, I just don't think you let this drag on any further into training camp, and you don't re-sign Jalen Carter. And I know you gave that money to Jordan Davis. I think you got Davis and Carter, and now you're building around these guys on that D line. I like the Jalen Carter deal. 4 years, $152 million for that extension. The Sixers officially announced the LeBron James signing. And this, again, has been one of the most exciting things, I think, in my sports or Philadelphia sports fandom. I guess that's overall. It's still insane. And, it happened last Friday, and it was fresh last week, so we got to talk about it. We're talking about it again for another minute or two. Just insane, man. It's just insane. I am a little, I want to hear him talk. Apparently, he's not going to talk until, media day, which is in, a month or two. It bums me out. I want to hear him talk now. I want to hear Jaylen Brown talk too, but neither of them have talked. Jaylen Brown's he did that, that little clip with Speed when he was at the World Cup, and he was talking about recruiting LeBron, but outside of that, I haven't really heard Jaylen Brown talk. But it's just, every time I think about LeBron being in a Sixer or being in a Sixers uniform, it is super surreal. It's a mix of excitement, amazing, weird. Not gonna lie, a little weird. It's wow, it's weird because you never thought that something like this would happen. Surreal, crazy. Like there's like a bunch of words you can use to describe how I've been feeling about LeBron, and I'm sure you have too, to a certain extent. So it's just insane. LeBron James, the Philadelphia 76er, and I just can't wait for basketball season to start. I would say I haven't been this excited about a Sixers season. I would say 2021, because I still felt like they had chances to win. 2021, 2022, those were the years. But after 22, it kind of it was getting really difficult to really get excited. I'm talking about really excited about a Sixers season. I don't even know, because I'm thinking like after the 2018 season, I was really excited because it was like, oh wow, even though they had lost in the playoffs, but like that was big. They made the playoffs. They got to the second round. I was like, all right, we're gonna build around Simmons, Joel. They're only gonna get better. Like this is super exciting. Right now this is really exciting, man. I'm just so stoked about Sixers and LeBron. This is just really, really, really awesome stuff. All right, coming up, we're going to do a little more on the MLB trade deadline. We're going to look at more of the bigger landscape of what the trade deadline is going to look like. Big NHL superstar, young superstar, gets the biggest contract, at least AAV-wise, in NHL history. An NFL training camp. Is Aaron Donald going to return? Myles Garrett spoke on it. So we'll talk about that coming up right here on the Sports Wrap on 95.3 WCHE. Welcome back. It's the Sports Wrap. 95.3 WCHE. You can listen on the radio at 95.3 FM and online at 95.3 WCHE.com. If you're down in the Westchester area, go online. Go online. So, Sports Wrap, it's Francisco. Every single Saturday, 10 to 11 a.m., you can listen. And the show is podcasted, so you can listen to the podcasted version of the show, and that's at 95.3 WCHE.com, so you can listen to that there. But told you, and we talked about it before the break. Oh, actually, I feel like I always somehow forget the Twitter question before I get to the break, or like even every now and then. But I will say, this going back to Sixers fans, has it set in for you yet that LeBron James is a Sixer? Yes or no? Simple. Has it set in for you yet? Has it set in? Like, are you just like, oh my gosh, do you need to see it? That's what I want to know. Because for me, honestly, man, it still hasn't set in. It's awesome. It's amazing. But it's just too weird to think about. It's like LeBron's a Sixer. It's so weird. Still weird. And I think it's going to be weird for a while, especially, I feel like even when the season starts, it's just going to be weird. It's just going to be weird. So, has it set in for you that LeBron James is a Philadelphia 76er? All right, going back to the MLB trade deadline. So, again, it's going to be a really wild deadline. I felt like last year's deadline was wild, too. Thing is, last couple of years, there haven't really been any, ginormous. We haven't gotten those, Verlander in 2017, something like that. We haven't gotten those huge names, those blockbuster trades of a guy like that, Machado back in 2018, something like that. I feel like we just haven't gotten those, at least in the last couple of years, of guys that are, they're just going to be franchise-altering moves mid-season. We just haven't seen those. But we're definitely getting one this year. We definitely are, because according to Jeff Passan, it is definitely happening. This was a couple of days ago. I think this was on Thursday night. So Thursday night, this was Jeff Passan on SportsCenter talking about the latest in regards to Tarik Skubal.
And Jeff, you said we'd know by end of month whether Tarik Skubal will remain a Tiger. That was Skubal's last start before the deadline. So should he start packing boxes?
Yeah, Yeah, Tarik Skubal is going to be traded. The Tigers haven't gone to teams that are interested in him and said as much at this point, but the expectation is that's going to happen within the next day or two. And frankly, everyone has been expecting it. When you see how the Tigers have played recently, and certainly their game Wednesday was a perfect encapsulation of their season, they understood that they needed to go on a really big run in order to have Tarik Skubal stick around, and they didn't do it. They're taking a healthy view of this. They understand that they have a lot of engaged teams right now. Teams that, in particular, are being cited by others as being the biggest threats, though, the Milwaukee Brewers, who have a tremendous farm system, and, of course, Phil, the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are the favorites at this point, and frankly have been since the possibility of Tarik Skubal getting traded first surfaced a couple of months ago.
Of course, the Dodgers. And look, I don't blame the Dodgers because, I mean, why not make your team as good as it possibly can be? Well, why does it matter? Why does it matter? Especially no salary cap. Go do it. You have one of the best farm systems in baseball. Go do it. Brewers are obviously one to watch, too, especially because the Brewers don't. I mean, they've been thin on starting pitching. I know Miz has been unbelievable, but I think that we'll see what the Brewers do to like manage Mizorowski's workload. So, yeah, you know, with Miz, you have Woodruff. I think he's done for the season. A couple other pitchers went on the IL. I mean, they had to get Lance McCullers. Because they were thin on starting pitching. And Lance McCullers has not been good in recent years, especially this year. So, this deadline, again, and I kind of mentioned some names in the first segment, but so some other big names to watch. Freddie Peralta from the Mets, who the Mets just had traded for in the offseason, and the Mets people were thinking, oh, maybe they were having a good offseason. Maybe they looked like they were, but now not looking so good, as the Mets are definitely selling and they are out of it. So Freddie Peralta looks like he's going to get traded. Emerson Hancock's an interesting one to watch. I mean, I guess the Mariners had such good starting pitching in the past, so we'll see. But Hancock was one of their bigger prospects. According to Passan, he's got like a 50% chance of being traded. So Hancock's out there. Jose Soriano, who had a really good start to the season, but the Angels seem like they're always out of it by the deadline. Or not always out of it, but the Angels are the Angels. So Jose Soriano, maybe there's a chance he gets traded. Luke Weaver from the Mets, he's another one. Like I said, Clay Holmes earlier. Casey Mize from the Tigers, he's another one to watch. Some interesting ones. Like, again, like the interesting ones to me are like Mason Miller, because like, are the Padres going to sell? Like, they're in it still, but how much do they believe in their team? It all comes down to how much you believe in your team to go potentially make a run. Do you still say to yourself, it's baseball, let's see if they can make a run? Or does the CBA have anything to do with the lockout? Like, how much? I mean, that's got to play something into it too. So, like Mason Miller, Abrams is a really interesting one, just because. Abrams is having a really, really big year. Are the Nationals going to try to capitalize potentially on Abrams having... I mean, honestly, Abrams has put up the best numbers of his career through 107 games. I mean, if you look at the rest of the last 3 years, he's playing full seasons and has not even touched the numbers that he has touched here. 28 homers, 83 RBI, 290 average, 367 on base, 563 slug. He's leading the National League in slugging. These numbers that he's putting up, I mean, this is what the Nationals were hoping to get. I mean, look, Abrams is only 25 years old, by the way. He's only 25 years old. So, he's going to be a big one. He's free agent in 2029, arbitration eligible in 2027. Abrams having a big, big year. Was originally drafted by the Padres, was in the Juan Soto trade to the Nationals, and Abrams here putting up big numbers with the Nationals, him along with James Wood. So, and the Nationals right now, 55 and 56, man. I mean, they're not that far out either. I mean, they are 2.5 back. So, but the Nationals may be trying to, they've been rebuilding, and we'll see. Abrams is a big one to watch too. So, a lot of those names I mentioned there, and clearly Tarik Skubal is the biggest one to watch. And there's been some speculation over the last year. I guess it's been over the last year now. Because the Tigers weren't going to they were saying that they weren't going to extend him. What was going to happen with Tarik Skubal? Are they going to trade him? Are they just going to let this play out and see if they can, because they came into this season, getting Framber Valdez, and I mean technically, again, like the Tigers aren't out of it, 3.5 back of that wild card spot. So, like, what does that mean for the Detroit Tigers? So. But they came into this year hoping that they could contend, especially in not the most competitive American league, and here they are. They've had an underwhelming season to this point. So, and Framber Valdez has had an underwhelming season, and Skubal has dealt with some injuries this year, but looks like Skubal is going to get shipped off, and. Man, I mean, Skubal, who was looking to maybe be the first American League pitcher to three-peat in a Cy Young, I think either ever or in a really long time. I forget. There was Randy Johnson the one year, and then there was Greg Maddux not the 1 year, but Randy Johnson did 4 times in a row in the early 2000s, and then Maddux did it in the mid-2000s, I think. So, yeah. So, Skubal was looking to be maybe that guy, first guy to do it in a long time. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be really, I mean, look, Skubal probably looking like, he's not going to be a Tiger. Not going to be a Tiger. So, I guess bittersweet for Tigers fans and to see Skubal potentially pitch his last game in a Tigers uniform. All right, next thing, man. Macklin Celebrini gets paid. So I guess a couple of weeks after, and especially here in Philadelphia, or here in the Philadelphia area, Leo Carlsson ends up getting the biggest deal in NHL history, at least AAV-wise, because the Flyers gave him an offer sheet, and the Ducks had to match it, and they did that, $18 million a year. Now that has been bested by Macklin Celebrini, and it's funny to look at these numbers. And I know NHL not as big of a maybe a sport as the others. It's usually, and it has been, the number 4 on the list of ranking the major sports in popularity wise. Hockey has never been number 1 or 2, really, maybe 3, I don't know, but at least in my lifetime. But it's funny to look at these deals and say, 5 years, $94 million, which is what Macklin Celebrini gets, and I'm thinking wow, it's really not that much. Bryce in 2019 getting 13 years, $330 million. Trout, a couple of weeks later getting the $400 million deal he gets. Ohtani, obviously, Soto. And now I'm honestly only thinking about MLB contracts, but you can go in the NFL and look at the quarterback contracts that a lot of those QBs have gotten. Even in the NBA, these deals that. These elder NBA players. By the way, Victor Wembanyama getting an extension. By the way, was it an extension? I apologize. No, it was a signature shoe deal, a Nike deal. Sorry, I don't know why I thought it was an extension. I just saw a deal, and I'm like, oh yeah, Wembanyama got an extension. But sorry to get sidetracked. But Celebrini, all that to say, wow, Celebrini 5 years, $94 million. It's really not that much compared to other sports, but in the NHL it's a big deal because it does make the 20-year-old forward the National Hockey League's highest paid player per season, now surpassing, again, Leo Carlsson, who's only 21, who's averaging $18 million for the next 5 seasons. After on July 9th, the Ducks gave him matching the offer sheet that had been tendered by the Flyers. So it's really exciting for Celebrini. It's really exciting for the Sharks. It's really exciting for NHL fans, and I'm a big Celebrini guy. Celebrini, who, by the way, big couple weeks for Celebrini, right? I'm pretty sure Celebrini was just announced as the cover athlete for NHL 27. That was announced a couple of weeks ago, I think. And Celebrini now highest paid player per season in NHL history. And last year, follows up his solid rookie season. I would say it was a pretty good rookie season for a number one overall pick. Maybe you're thinking like Crosby type numbers in your rookie season, but still a pretty good rookie season in 2024-2025 when he put up 63 points. But last year was the 100%, like 80%, or I'm saying 100%, 80% was definitely like the biggest reason why the Sharks were even close to making the playoffs, was carrying that team, but was so close the last like week or two of the season until they didn't make the playoffs. But 45 goals last year, 70 assists, good for 115 points, finished fourth in Hart Trophy voting, so he was really, really close to winning that Hart Trophy, and maybe could have won it if they had made the playoffs. If they made the playoffs, maybe he wins it, but ends up being Nikita Kucherov, who had a really awesome season. But Macklin Celebrini getting a big deal, 115 points last year, the highest paid player in NHL history per season at $18.8 million a year, 5 years, $94 million. So congrats to Celebrini. I think that's good for NHL fans. I think it's good for obviously the Sharks and the NHL. All right, let's get to the NFL. Training camp starting recently, and there has been obviously speculation that maybe Aaron Donald, who future Hall of Famer, has won a Super Bowl with the LA Rams, and there's been speculation that he's coming back, and nothing concrete right now, but Myles Garrett, of course, was going to be asked about this. Myles Garrett was asked about the possibility of teaming up with Aaron Donald. This was specifically from SportsCenter, a clip on Twitter. So this is what Myles Garrett had to say about the potential of it.
If he's here, I'm going to be excited to be his teammate, his partner in crime, and I think we can do great things. I think there's a lot we can learn from each other, and I'd love to pick his brain on the kind of things he does to attack his matchups, and I think the same could be said vice versa.
Yeah, so Myles Garrett, man, that would be a pretty scary. Now, Donald has not played since the 2023 season, and when he recorded 8 sacks, and that was the year the Rams went 10-7, went 5-12 the year before, and then 2021, that's the year they won the Super Bowl. They went all in and made the trade for Von Miller and got Jalen Ramsey, and yeah, so that was obviously the year that the Rams won the Super Bowl, and that was definitely the year that Jalen Ramsey went to the Rams, right? Am I missing that? I'm looking at the roster right now, and I don't see Ramsey on this list. Maybe I'm wrong. Am I wrong? No, there he is. Nope, he made All-Pro that year, and he was not traded though. Sorry, he got traded in 2019 from Jacksonville. I apologize. All right, so yeah, so there's the potential of maybe Aaron Donald coming back, but we do not have anything concrete just yet. All right, coming up, man. Weird injury, in regards to the trade deadline. I guess we're going back to baseball. But weird injury in baseball. I'm going to tell you about which player it was, what happened, and we're going to talk about the weirdest injuries that I've seen in sports. So that is coming up in the last segment right here on 95.3 WCHE. Welcome back. 95.3 WCHE. It's a sports wrap. It's Fran Rojas. One more segment before I'm taking you up to the Chris Nagopian show that you can tune in at 11 a.m. But I got you for about 10 to 15 more minutes here, taking you up to that program. But a couple of things that I wanted to get to this segment. And again, we will end with the Twitter question, which is you can go vote at 95.3 WCHE. It's about LeBron James. Has it set in for you that LeBron is a Sixer? It's about, it's a little over a week later now. Well, I will always remember where I was for LeBron getting signed, driving home from Atlantic City for work. And, yeah, always remember it. Almost driving off the road. Great stuff. All right. One thing is Tony Romo, man, being placed on leave by CBS Sports following his arrest. It was he was arrested last week on suspicion of driving under the influence, according to CBS. He received 3 citations from the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office following a July 23rd traffic stop after he was seen passing cars in the Gore area, which separates interstate traffic from cars entering from an on-ramp. He did a bunch of... So he did some sobriety tests, and he did really bad. There's definitely just some body cam footage that you can see, and it's really, really interesting. I think he was asked about some of his past head injuries, and he was like, well, I don't know. Wasn't a good look. But he's going to be placed on leave. I don't know what this is going to mean for Tony Romo, and I think a point that I had, maybe this was on Twitter, I forget where, I apologize. I want to credit the person that said this. Maybe it was ESPN. But it was either ESPN or somewhere else. Either way, someone made the point that maybe if Romo had been maybe regarded better as an analyst at this point, that maybe things would bode better for him in this situation. But the fact that, at least from football fans, people think that he is not. I mean, I think people have been a little too hard on Romo. Okay, it's him as an analyst. Initially, I think a lot of people liked him, and in recent years, people have not liked Romo as a color commentator. So, but we'll see what happens with Romo. It's not good right now, but he is being placed on leave. Looks like J.J. Watt will be slotted into his spot, where Tony Romo would normally be with Jim Nantz for these games. So we'll see. Monitoring the situation for sure. All right. Wild, crazy injury, man. Harrison Bader, who has been hurt this year. He's had plantar fasciitis in his left foot, and he's been out since late May. He had that really good ending with the Phillies last year. And this season with the Giants, after getting signed by the Giants, has not been hitting well. Or he had not been hitting well prior to his plantar fasciitis injury. And he made it even worse after, over the weekend, Bader, he was involved in an accident. And it involved him being on a scooter. He was apparently driving a scooter, I think somewhere in San Francisco. I could be getting that wrong. But he was driving a scooter, and he crashed into a fire engine, and further making his foot injury worse, and he is done for the season. Crazy injury, and crazy. And by the way, apparently there were some reports that people had seen him drinking earlier in the night. So, I mean, this was like at 2 a.m. in the morning. So there you go. Maybe he was drinking and he was on a scooter and he was being an idiot, and something like that happens. I mean, it doesn't matter what you're driving. Car, scooter, bike, anything. You probably shouldn't do that while you're drinking. Or after you've been drinking, excuse me. So, crazy injury, scooter accident. But it did make me think of some of the weirder injuries in sports. And some that come to mind, for sure. There is, a couple of years ago, in the World Baseball Classic, Edwin Diaz. And he wasn't the first one. I think Edwin Diaz, though, World Baseball Classic, tore his Achilles while celebrating with Puerto Rico. And so he got hurt while celebrating with his WBC teammates on field, and he was out for the year. And that brought up the discussion like, oh, well, it's the WBC. Should guys even be playing in this tournament? But no, I think we've realized that WBC is pretty awesome. So there was that. There was that one. There was years ago, Plaxico Burress, gunshot. Well, he was at the bar, I think. Wasn't he at the bar? And he had a gun in his pocket, and he accidentally shot himself. And yeah, that completely that was like the year. I'm pretty sure that was the year that the Giants won the Super Bowl, right? And then he came back. I think that was the same year the Giants won the Super Bowl. And it was like the off season. I mean, maybe it was during the year in 2008. I'm looking at his Football Reference page right now. He played 9 games the year after they won the Super Bowl in 2008. So I don't know if that meant that it happened that year. I forget exactly what happened. Plaxico Burress, that was a crazy one. Other ones that come to mind, Devin Williams a couple of years ago when he punched a locker in the clubhouse. And, the Brewers needed him for a stretch run in the playoffs, and that did not help his case. As he was, I think he was done for the year. And that's just a crazy. I think they were celebrating for making the playoffs, and he hurt his hand. Just be careful, man. There was that. There was also Andrew Bynum, some years ago. Andrew Bynum, never played a game for the Sixers. Hurt his, I don't even know if it's 100% true, but I think he did something to his ankle or his knee or something while bowling. I mean, Andrew Bynum never saw the court for the Sixers. We'll always resent Bynum for never playing a game. We never know what the reason was for him ever not playing a game, but there were reports. It wasn't 100% concrete true, but there was some speculation out there that it was coming from because he was bowling. I mean, I'll never forget that, man, either. I mean, talk about seasons I was excited for the Sixers, man. Talk about seasons I was excited for the Sixers. 2012 when we got Andrew Bynum. I mean, I was so excited for the Sixers that year. And I was like, we got Bynum. Like, oh, maybe there's kind of a shot. Because Bynum was coming off some seasons where he was, 2012, 2011, 2012 with the Lakers, 60 games. He had some injury problems before that, too. I know. But still, I was excited. But 60 games, it was like 19 points a game, 12 rebounds, got some Defensive Player of the Year votes the year before that in 2010, 2011 for the Lakers. So, I mean, I was excited. And Bynum did some bull crap in the bowling alley. Like, come on, man. I mean, I'm also looking at some other injuries right now. On this, it's the Bleacher Report list from some years ago. But Joel Zumaya was playing Guitar Hero. And after 2 weeks of rest, Zumaya, okay, so I'm trying to see what exactly it was here. They ran with it. So it says Guitar Hero ran with it. So it says rookie, according to Bleacher Report, this is from the article, rookie flamethrower Joel Zumaya was unavailable for much of the 2006 ALCS due to wrist inflammation. Wow, this is crazy. It was 2006. No one thought much of it until a couple of months after the season when GM Dave Dombrowski attributed the injury to playing too much Guitar Hero. True or not, the developments of the game ran with it. Putting this in the credits of Guitar Hero 2, no pitchers were harmed in the making of this game except for one, Joel Zumaya. He had it coming. That's amazing. That's hilarious. I'd never seen that. They put in the credits. I had Guitar Hero 2. I loved Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero was my ish. Yeah, I was a beast at Guitar Hero. On Expert, I could never beat Through the Fire and the Flames. I know a different one, Guitar Hero 3. Never could beat Through the Fire and the Flames. But I was a beast. I beat everything else on Expert. Oh, I flexed every time my friends came or we played. I was always the best one. Most of the time. I love Guitar Hero. Taught me a lot about other types of music, too, by the way. A lot of rock that I found out about. A lot of bands didn't know about until I played Guitar Hero. Yeah, there's a lot of popular songs I didn't know about until Guitar Hero. All right, so there's just some injuries there. You can tweet me any other injuries. I mean, there's a bunch of injuries here that I didn't talk about, but if you want to tweet me at Rojas_media_, any crazy injuries that come to mind for you, as Harrison Bader, as he's it's not like the wildest, craziest, weirdest one, but it's one of those where you hear about it. It's like, well, what are you doing, buddy? It's probably more about the drinking. There's people that say you'd seen him drinking. Maybe that's more about it. All right, so Twitter question. At 95.3 WCHE, And go follow us on Twitter. Follow us on all social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. It's all the same, 95.3 WCHE. Has it set in for you that LeBron James is a Sixer? Yes or no? 67% say no. 33% say yes. I fall with the latter. 67%. I don't know. Again, still going to be weird even when he steps on the court in a Sixers uniform. I think after maybe after a little while, after he's playing with the Sixers, maybe it'll set in. But again, it's still freaking weird, man. Still weird that LeBron is a Sixer. All right, it has been a really, really fast and fun hour. Man, I'm really excited to talk about potentially what the Phillies are going to get next, talk what they're going to get Monday at the deadline. I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do. Hopefully we're going to be talking about a team that'll be playing better this time next week, because that's the biggest thing. But, yes. All right, so that will do it for another edition of the Sports Wrap. Chris Nagopian Show is coming up next. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.